What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Let's wrap up this Fragrantica's Best for Winter series. In this video, the topic of niche fragrances on Fragrantica. And welcome back. So it's another month, the last of the year, and you know what that means? It's time for our monthly giveaway. So stick around to the end of this video to find out how you can win some awesome fragrances to get you fresh and ready for 2025. So as everyone knows, niche fragrances are very expensive. They are quite pricey and they don't appeal to the masses. They are different level of fragrances and the smell of these fragrances are very subjective. Some love them, others detest them. But there are a few that everyone agrees are masterpieces. They smell amazing and they appeal to the right person for the right situation for the right price. And if you thought that clones and designers had it hard on Fragrantica, wait until you find out just how hard it is for a niche fragrance to achieve a score of 4.5 on Fragrantica or better. So after completing the research and running through all the fragrances, I was very fortunate and blessed that I do have 2 or 3 niche fragrances that are suitable for winter that are rated at 4.5 or better on Fragrantica. However, that is not the totality of this video. You see, this series has taught me just how subjective the fragrance game can be. What smells perfect, like a solid 10 out of 10 to me, might be a 7 or a 6 out of 10 for you, and vice versa. So with that in mind, Fragrantica ratings aside, I want to use this video to share 11 awesome recommendations for the winter time in the category of niche fragrances. And we're going to start off with one that I think most people, including the panel of experts on Fragrantica, agreed that it's at least a 9 out of 10, and that is Naxos from Xerjoff. This is a sweet, honeyed tobacco fragrance with absolute beast mode performance. It's a very pricey fragrance, but it might fall into what people will consider mainstream niche. It is not off-putting or difficult to wear in any way. This is very smooth with the right amount of sweetness and a great entry-level tobacco niche fragrance. This is very high quality perfumery from the Italian house of Xerjoff. And yes, this is one where quality matches price. It is one of the few niche fragrances for winter that is rated above 4.5. In this case, it is rated at 4.51 on Fragrantica, and I think that score is absolutely warranted. Could have even been higher. And even niche fragrance snobs on Fragrantica or otherwise will agree that this is worthy of the 4.51 score. Starting us off at number 11 is Naxos from Xerjoff. Number 10 comes in from the house of Amouage, and it is Interlude Black Iris. This is the smoother, easier to wear version of the masterpiece that is Interlude Man from Amouage. This is creamier, still has that presence of incense and smoke, but that off-putting oregano note is not present in this. It is still balsamic, still very smoky, but the presence of iris, or in this specific case, orris root, makes this so much more approachable and so much more enjoyable, hence easier to wear and more appealing. The house of Amouage has some amazing fragrances, particularly suited to cold weather, but this I think is the absolute best one. The score on Fragrantica is around 4.4, which I think should be higher, but again, in the field of men's perfumery, scores are so subjective. For me, this is a 10. Let me know what you would rank this as. Number 10, Amouage Interlude Black Iris. Number 9 comes from the house of Parfums de Marly, and it is Habdan. Now, Habdan is one of my favorites from the house of Parfums de Marly, simply because it is one of the very few fragrances from that house that is not overly sweet. There is a tad bit of sweetness here, but fragrance is primarily centered around the use of rose and apple and a very woody aromatic. Absolutely beautiful fragrance. Now, you will find on Fragrantica that there is not a single fragrance from the house of Parfums de Marly that is rated at a 4.5, and I find that very hard to handle. Parfums de Marly is one of the standards in niche perfumery, but again, the subjectivity of this game leaves it as such. that one of the best producers of niche perfumery, it is very hard for them to even get a score of 4.5 on Fragrantica. So my choice coming in at number 9 from the House of Parfums de Marly, it is Habdan. If you want something different from the overly sweet fragrances that dominate the winter space, go for Habdan. Number 8 on our list comes from the uber niche house of Nasomatto, and it is Pardon. Now this is an absolute lady killer. This fragrance is a boozy chocolate all night long kind of vibe. The only drawback to this fragrance and this whole house really is that they only come in 30 ml extrait concentrations. And for many, it's going to be hard to be spending upwards of $100, almost $200 for a 30 ml bottle of a fragrance. But again, this is an extrait de parfum concentration, and 1 to 2 sprays will last you the whole day. The fragrance starts off very smooth with florals in the opening, and then it transitions into this beautiful, not too sweet, chocolatey smoothness. There is a hint of booze, even though there are no booze listed officially on the notes. Nasomatto again is another house that produces absolute bangers. And again, if you browse Fragrantica, there is not a single fragrance from the house of Nasomatto that is ranked above a 4.5. There are some absolute bangers from this house that I absolutely love, like Baradonna and Black Afghano, but Nasomatto stands above them for me, and that's why it comes in at number 8 on this list. Pardon from Nasomatto. Moving on to number 7, it comes to us from the house of Penhaligon's, and it is Halfeti Cedar. Now this is a twist from the original Halfeti. It incorporates the use of extra woody elements of cedar with some mineralic notes, dried fruits, and rum. So this is a very fruity, boozy, very elegant scent. Whenever I smell this, I picture myself, and I dress accordingly, of course, in a nice wool coat, very heavy boots, but kind of like Peaky Blinders vibes. This is what this gives to me. And this is perfectly suited for cold weather on an overcast day. It has really good projection. Where it does lag a bit is in longevity. I only get 8 to 9 hours of performance out of this, which is really not terrible, but considering where it stacks up against other cold weather fragrances, it's borderline mediocre. Again, another one that is rated in the 4.2 range on Fragrantica, and the house of Penhaligon's as a whole has 0 fragrances that is rated at a 4.5 or better. So in my opinion, there may be some degree of snobbery going on Fragrantica, but you decide. Number 7 from the house of Penhaligon's is Halfeti Cedar. Number 6 in the list is a recent acquisition into my collection, and it is Pavillon Rouge from the house of Jovoy. Now, I recently started exploring the house of Jovoy, and they have some absolute bangers in their list. This one here is perfectly suited for the cold weather. It is boozy, like very boozy. It has rum and whiskey as top notes, and very spicy leather and tobacco. But where this really becomes niche, in my opinion, is in the dry down, when you get this aromatic dark sweetness from the ebony wood that is listed in the notes. I don't think I have many other fragrances with the note of ebony wood, but this one stands out. It just has this very dark sweetness with undertones of smooth woodiness. And it's one of those fragrances where at the end of the experience you're wondering if it's the same fragrance that you sprayed on to begin with. It opens up very spicy, very boozy, then it becomes slightly sweet, and then it transitions into this beautiful dark, sweet, aromatic, woody fragrance. An absolute gem to enjoy in the cold time. It doesn't project a whole lot, however, but where it does shine is in its staying power. This thing will last for days. And that dry down is one of the best experiences that I've ever had from any perfume at any level. Number 6 from the house of Jovoy is Pavillon Rouge. Number 5 on our list comes from the house of Matière Première, and it is Encens Suave. This is an aromatic, smoky vanilla fragrance. The vanilla here is quite animalic. It is very raw, very sweet with the smoky facets from the incense. It does, in a sense, in some ways, remind me of Absolute Aphrodisiac from Initio or Fire at Will from Jovoy. It is that good of a vanilla fragrance. But beautiful vanilla scent aside, where this one really shines is in the performance. This is an absolute beast mode of a fragrance. There is an extrait version available, but it is not needed. This one performs for up to 16 hours with great projection pretty much the whole time. It is one of 2 Matière Premiere fragrances that I have in my collection, and I'm really starting to enjoy this house. Number 5 on the list, Encens Suave from Matière Premiere. The number 4 fragrance on our list is from the house of Xerjoff, and it is Toni Iommi Monkey Special. Now, this fragrance has a laundry list of notes, but primarily what you smell are notes of a passion fruit with rum that transitions into like a leather rose fragrance, and then it dries off with musky vanilla with a bit of freshness. And the fragrance really does take on a different facet at every transition. Though it's rated at 4.31 on Fragrantica, it has beast mode performance. I'm talking projection for the whole life of this fragrance, with longevity lasting up to 12 hours. I will say though that this fragrance is very polarizing, so it is not a safe blind buy. So if you have a store, a Neiman's, or somewhere else where you can sample, please do sample before you buy. But it is a fragrance that I am absolutely enjoying, and one that I am happy and blessed to have in my collection. Number 4, the Monkey Special Toni Iommi from Xerjoff. Number 3 on our list comes from the house of Daniel Hossier, and it is Ambre Tabac. Now, I know this fragrance was in my best rated for fall list, and here again it makes an appearance in my best rated for winter list, because I have absolutely fallen in love with this fragrance. This is at the moment my favorite. It is boozy tobacco with warm apple pie, but it is not overly sweet. It's very alluring, very aromatic, very smooth. It is, in my opinion, a cross between Herod from Parfums de Marly and Naxos from Xerjoff. If you can in some way blend those 2 fragrances together and make the perfect fragrance, it would be Ambre Tabac from Daniel Hossier. And funny story, as I was looking through my collection to find this fragrance, I stumbled across 2 boxes, like 2 completely unopened boxes. And when I proceeded to open those 2 boxes, I found about 20, maybe 30 fragrances, some clones, some designers, and an extra bottle of this. So the giveaway for this month will be in 3 folds. So there will be 3 lucky winners, each receiving 5 fragrances. The first winner will receive a full presentation of Ambre Tabac from Daniel Hossier, as well as 4 other undisclosed fragrances once I run through the boxes that I have found. The second winner will receive a full 100 ml bottle of Dior Homme Cologne, along with 4 of the fragrances from that box that I have discovered. And the third winner will receive a full bottle of the discontinued Tux from Maison Alhambra, Taratti Blue from Afnan, and 3 other fragrances from that box that I discovered. So that's a total of 15 different fragrances for 3 different winners. And all you have to do to be entered into the giveaway is be subscribed to this channel, share this video with a fellow frag head, and comment down below 1, 2, or 3 to let me know which of the packages you are interested in. So on to the number 2 fragrance on this list, and it comes from the house of Argos, and it is Fall of Phaeton. Now this is such an outstanding fragrance. I loved it in the cooler weather, and I love it more even in the cold weather. There's just something about the nature of the leather in this fragrance. It is so smooth, so spicy in the opening, but then it transitions to becoming this sweet, smooth, absolutely beautiful winter fragrance. The wearing experience with this fragrance has been nothing short of outstanding and stellar. It's an absolute compliment magnet, absolute crowd pleaser. This is just so phenomenal in every way. And as we have come to expect from the house of Argos, this is a beast mode performer. This one I think is my favorite from the house of Argos, one that I absolutely highly recommend, Frag Styles approved. This has a score of 4.5 or better. That makes it better than a 9 out of 10, and I absolutely concur. This is a gem of a fragrance, likely the best from the house, from Argos, Fall of Phaeton. And we move on to the number 1 fragrance on this list, and it is Oud Republic from Dora. Now, this is not a very popular fragrance. It can be a bit challenging to find, especially for a good price. But if you can find it, this is one of the most dynamic fragrances I have ever experienced. The beauty of this from opening to mid to dry down is something to behold. It's kind of like spraying on 3 different fragrances at the same time. It opens up very aromatic, very sweet, very spicy in the opening. Then it transitions into this beautiful woody oud rose composition in the mid. And then the dry down is just stellar. Sweet, woody oud. It's kind of like a burnt oud sensation in the end, in the dry down. But the degrees of change that you experience while wearing this fragrance is something that you have to experience. Every detail from scent profile to performance to presentation on this thing is a 10 for me. You get aspects of oud satin mood, aspects of ardent, aspects of oud wood. As it transitions, it blends masterfully all these scent profiles of those different fragrances that I mentioned. So if you want something different, something that no one else has or very few people have, then this should be your go-to number 1 from the house of Dora, Oud Republic. So there you have it. Thank you for watching, and the winners for the giveaway will be announced in the community section on January 1st. That's New Year's Day. So as always, stay fresh, stay classic, and I'll see you in the next one.